This is Victoria Merrill. I am going to talk to you about my experience with the ritual analysis at the Palm Beach Hindu Mandir on the evening of October 2nd. I was fortunate in that a friend of mine is Hindu and invited me to accompany her, knowing that I had this assignment. We got there at about 7:30 at night, and I was surprised to see that it was actually in a converted home, so it wasn't very temple-esque, if you will. However, the outside of the building was very brightly painted, kind of an orangey stucco, with a lot of kind of red rimming the windows, and there were streamers and garland hanging outside, so you could tell that it definitely was no longer a home, that it was a place of worship. Here you can see a closer-up view of the garland that festooned the building, and also a little more clearly the rack for shoes, as worshipers are expected to remove their shoes before entering the ritual space. We actually went to celebrate the Hindu holiday, I guess you would say, or celebration of Navratri, which is a celebration of the goddess Durga, and it is a 9-night celebration that happens at the beginning of every winter and every summer to kind of celebrate the newness of the beginning of life. Once we got inside to the place of worship, it just seemed like there were artifacts and deities and gods kind of everywhere. Every available surface space, every available wall space was devoted to a god or a deity or the Om. And then lining the stage over its entirety were dozens and dozens of Hindu statues of gods, where when praying, the Hindu worshippers would be able to have an experience through the eyes of those kind of idols or statues. Here is an image of the flyer advertising the celebration of the Navratri, the evenings of October 1st to the 10th at the Palm Beach Hindu Mandir. The worship itself was almost entirely in Hindi. There were a few places where the pujari or the priest would actually interject and speak in English to kind of explain what was going on, but it was very minimal. And very occasionally on an overhead projector there were translations of the words, or actually the songs or the chants that were being spoken. Approximately 80% of the worship service was sung or chanted. It was clear in looking around, this was how the worshipers experienced their sacred ritual. When the pujari had concluded the service, the microphone was passed around to individual worshipers so that they could express their faith by singing individual bhajans. I was fascinated with this instrument, which is a percussion one called the dhanta. performed included the pujari, or the priest, pouring milk over the Shiva Lingam, the burning of incense and kind of wafting it through the air to cleanse the air. Again, the statues of the deities that allowed the worshippers to focus. And there was an overall message of peace and love and unity. At the end of the service, parsad, or in some spellings it's prasad, was passed out. It's kind of a ritual dough or treat of Hindu origin that's made from flour and sugar water. That was passed around. And then there was also a communal meal after the service, which was really nice, and it was very cultural. It was served on giant banana leaves, and actually there was an option to use a knife and fork, but most of the worshippers used their hands as they were used to doing culturally. Part of my experience was also that I got to be exposed to kind of the ritual or sacred space within the Hindu home via the graciousness of my friend Linda. I got to see with new eyes actually, for the first time, and really look at what she had done with a little shrine area that was inside of her front door that I, quite frankly, had not really paid much attention to before. So that also enhanced the experience. The shrine included the goddess Durga. As our text suggests, the Hindu faith is very, very nuanced, and this particular service seemed to be no exception, even from research that I had done online to look into the background of the celebration and the different ritual acts and objects that were seen during the experience. I will say that it was an overall positive experience. It seemed very, very deeply rooted in history, and it was also as much of a cultural experience as it was a religious one. In the end, the overall exercise of analyzing the ritual space, the ritual objects, observing the sacred time, listening to the ritual sound and language, identifying the ritual identity, watching the ritual action gave me a deeper understanding of what it means to be Hindu and an overall appreciation for the culture that accompanies it. Thank you very much for watching and for listening.